Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this quick chat I'm having with Vicky Winkler about product packaging and design. So, Vicky has been in the industry for over 35 years, and today we're going to be talking about a lot of product packaging, and you're going to gain a lot of valuable insights on marketing, branding, and package design. So, one big thing about product packaging is having solid partners, which is one area where Vicky is very well versed. So, Vicky, why is it so important to have solid partners in product packaging?
Well, I think the product packaging industry, there's a lot out there. There's a lot of good suppliers. There's a little more sketchy suppliers. And just having good partners is knowing that you have, good solid people, that can follow through on the areas that you need. So, for example, we're graphic designers, and we can take a die line and we can design to it. But having that product packaging supplier who also knows the industry very well, they know how the different materials are going to react. They know if we need to be careful about the fold, where it's going to be, how bleeds are going to work. And having that conversation with the client sometimes right there on the call, to be able to say, hey, we know you want to do this, but here's from the limitations of the package that you're doing. Hey, what are some of the things that we can do? I can come in and my team can come in as the interjection of, well, is it going to be on brand? We're going to still keep it on brand. What can we do? And also just what can we creatively do, knowing what the limitations are, to still achieve the product. And a lot of times, it might be cost savings might be a factor. And so we talk about the outcomes, and, are we going to be able to achieve this within the budget based on what you want, but still creatively, make it work. And so it's important to have, all of those people. And Carrington, you yourself, from the product photography standpoint, that can be a big part of it too, is especially if they're going to have a picture of the product on the package. That can't be an afterthought. That has to be part of the equation. And so by having people in the room that are specialty in certain areas, so you might be good at product packaging design, but the added advantage like that we have from the marketing shop is we're branding experts too. And just having years of experience in the industry. Not that somebody who's maybe starting up in the product packaging field is a wrong choice. But it's just making sure that they're determined to listen, to be open, to make the best final product for the client. And you just, I always say I can't do it alone. It has to be strong partners that will help to achieve the outcome for the client.
Yeah, so I feel like having those strong partners is really vital, especially when you might have a brand who's never done this before. And they're really
Mhm.
weighing on you to figure out, okay, what is the best next step for my brand? And you need to also be able to understand, like, okay, like, what are the red flags that I also need to be looking out for? And putting everything together to help the brands and push them in the right direction. So, like, what are some red flags when you look at different partners for do's and don'ts for brands when they may not know what they're doing?
Right, right. Well, I think it's usually obvious when you start to have a conversation about, a lot of times I'll look at, like, okay, what are the pitfalls? What are some of the limitations? What are some things that we need to look out for? And if they kind of don't know, or they think, oh, no, it'll be fine. It'll, we'll do it this way. And it'll be, and maybe with the experience I've had, I might be able to say, well, did we think about this aspect of it? Or have you asked the client, this part of it? So I feel like somebody who has enough knowledge and experience in the field has just seen a lot of things, because I think that product packaging can be expensive.
Mhm.
And so you want to make sure that all questions are answered, that if there's anything that seems like it's not right, that we bring it out in the open, that we talk about it, and we make sure that we've addressed it, before you get to that stage where there's been a lot of money invested and it's too late to turn back. So, again, I have met people that haven't had as many years in the industry, but they've just have a lot more better sense of what's needed and what's not. than maybe somebody who has had more experience. And there's obviously there's so many different kinds of product packaging, that finding, that partner that has experience in that certain type of product packaging is important as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have worked with brands who they're on their third, fourth, fifth renovation of their product packaging because they're like they started out DIYing it and then they're like, oh, it's not hitting the market and we got some bad reviews on it. So now they're gonna redo it. And then like, okay, it was a little bit better, but like now we want to grow the brand and this doesn't look professional. And I'm always like, just do it right. Talk to the people and do it right, and you're gonna save yourself a lot of time in the long run. And understanding that you can start somewhere and allow that to grow with you versus having to redo everything and reinvent the wheel multiple times, right?
Right.
So
Right.
I find a lot of brands end up having to reinvent the wheel and go through a full rebrand because they didn't do it right the first time.
Right, right. And sometimes things evolve. The packaging that you had, a great example was a gourmet popcorn company that I've worked with. When they started out, they had just, clear, very inexpensive cellophane bags. And well, the shelf life wasn't so good. And so now that they're growing and they're expanding to more areas of the country, well, now they need to upgrade their packaging. And at some point, if they continue to scale, they'll need to change their packaging again. And that's where, again, the partners like, having a product packaging optimization specialist, which I do have, that they can come in and say, well, maybe we need to redesign this in a different shape because of the way now that you're shipping the product and the way that the product is getting into market is different than when you were a smaller operation. So it's, again, you don't know what you don't know.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, when you bring in a partner that has a specialty in an area, and they can say, gosh, if you did it this way, you're going to save yourself a lot of money. You're going to get more, you're going to get better reactions from your suppliers, from your supply chain, from your retailers. And again, sometimes those things, doing research, there's things that you don't know. And it's, to ask those questions and not be afraid to do some research and get some answers, because sometimes people don't know what's holding them back,
Yep.
because they simply haven't asked the questions.
Fair enough. So if anybody does have questions and they want to get in contact with you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so you can either just go to my website, www.tms.marketing, go to the contact page, and you can set up a free brainstorming session with me, or give me a text at 248-330-8787.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Vicky.